Welcome to another Friday night episode of Keto Rocks Radio. I'm Jim Hobbs, and down below, I think on the screen, is my carnivore co-host, Brian Damage Forsythe of the band Kix and Rhino Bucket. Back from fresh off the M3 headlining from Friday night in Columbia, Maryland. So how'd that go, Brian?
It went well, actually. I mean, for a hectic gig, I mean, it's really like hectic because there's like meet and greets and this and that, and and you're scrambling to get up there to play. But yeah, it went well.
Now at M3, did you guys get your chance to do your sound check since you were headlining Friday night?
No. It would have been too early. We had to be done by 2 in the afternoon, and nobody wanted to come down that early. So
you guys just tuned up as you guys started. Now that's the one the stage revolves, right? So your stuff is set up and they just spin it around.
Yeah. So our stuff was actually set up. We could go mess with it. It was behind. So yeah, we didn't get an official sound check, but
you guys were good. Sounded great, by the way. I listened to a couple streams.
Yeah, it was a little bit cold, but it was sometimes when it is cold, it can cause some tuning issues, but at the same time, you get out there and you're running around and you don't even sweat, so it's kind of cool. Well, yeah. Literally cool.
Cool. And we have back joining us this evening is the founder of the Carnivore News Network, Mr. Captain Carnivore himself, Mr. Steve Conover from Beeville. So welcome back, brother.
Nice to be here and see your voice.
Yeah.
And I know you've been, I know before we hit the record button, you guys have been really hitting the podcast circuit in regards to great information for those who are looking to improve their health by going carnivore or keto. And those results are flying around lately, and you guys were posting a lot of them. So I figured we just open up tonight's episode with which stood out the most to you. What are you seeing the most of, and what do you think people would benefit from what you guys have digested lately?
Well, yeah. Just so from a 30,000 foot view, what appears to be happening is there's a lot of really serious doctors and scientists of all kinds that have come over to we'll just say meat-based lifestyle. And because of that, they're all starting to do anecdotal studies of their own. And because of that, there are some scholarly institutions, so to speak, that are doing related work on things like insulin, things like hydration, things like the difference between a popular theme in nutrition for my whole life was calories are calories, the calories in, calories out, calories deficit. Now there's several new studies that kind of go, well, all calories aren't really the same for humans. And the difference between a 2,000 calorie vegan diet versus a 2,000 calorie carnivore diet, as far as the bioavailability and absorption of nutrients, is quite stunning. So that's what we see from an overall standpoint, is like almost like in the spiritual world now. Everybody's kind of waking up to this dream, this low fat, high carb dream we've been stuck in for a generation or two. And it just seems like everybody's waking up, even the institutions that formerly were against us.
Well, I'm glad to see that happening, because I was thinking this morning as we were preparing for the show, I was thinking, you remember in the 60s and the 70s, smoking was considered healthy for you. I mean, it was considered a healthy habit. And, I should say the 30s. Let's go back a little bit further. But smoking was considered a healthy habit, and doctors promoted it. And then we come to find out, well, maybe this is not so healthy, so it's nice. So my point being is, we can't go off what other people are telling us. We say that over the time. You can't go over what other people are telling you. You're going to have to go out there and if you're not experience it for yourself, then why are you let somebody else program what you're going to eat for your health when it's your health, not their health? And, you know, I hear what Steve's saying, and you know, and there's a lot of, you may be saying, well, how do I tell? And I think Steve, in a very subtle way, was saying, well, do you go to the bathroom 5 to 6 times a day for bowel movements? Because maybe that's a clue that what you've ingested, your body is rejecting, and you're rejecting more often than you should in regards to somebody who lives a clean carnivore lifestyle. And I'll put Brian on the spot here. How often do you reject the food on a regular basis, on a weekly basis? How often do you go poop, Brian, during the course of a week?
Maybe once.
Yeah. And so the people who are pooping 5 times a day are going to go point the finger at him and say, there's something not right with him. No, the point, the reality of this, you should be pointing back to yourself and asking yourself, should you really be pooping that many times during the course of a day? What that's telling you, and it should tell all of us, that if you're pooping that often, that your body is rejecting what you're putting in it. There's nothing the body can use to nurture itself. And it's like, nope, we don't need that. So anyway.
Well, yeah, and Brian, Jim and I were talking about this earlier, and a question that I develop in communicating on social media, which is where I do everything on this subject, is to ask them a question. Is if, all right, let's think about it this way. If you only had a certain amount of poops in your life, if there was a number of total poops in your life, and you're going to the bathroom 3 to 5 times a day, do you want to be you or Brian? Because when you hit that last poop, you're done. You've worn out your colon, and it's over. If you look at it from that standpoint, which is literally how you should look at it, you have a much different view on that subject. And you know, I equate it to gravity. You know, there's a lot of people go, well, how do you know I'm not supposed to fly? Well, what happens every time you jump off the roof of your house? Well, I hit the ground and it hurts. It's the same thing with this subject. It's like, if you're eating food that travels the 28 feet of your digestive tract in less than 24 hours, every part of that system's going, nothing for me, nothing for me, nothing for me.
True.
And that's what's happening. But you're going to tell me you think you can fly, so keep doing it. And you're going to wear out your colon.
So Brian, what's been sticking out? I know you've been sharing a lot of articles and a lot of podcasts that you've been observing. What stood out for you this week?
Yeah, actually, when you mentioned that, I had to go back and look because I've been posting so many things I couldn't keep track myself. But yeah, I stumble onto this stuff, and it's like, I mean, super interesting. You know, of course, I posted that one about the food industry causing the problem, and then the pharmaceutical industry selling you the solution. I mean, that's just, you know, I've been talking about that forever. But there was well, I'm looking at my phone right now because I have the seen what I posted. But the one about the cholesterol, I just posted because people are always asking me, how's your cholesterol? You know, because I eat meat.
And eggs.
And this was a study about the lean mass hyper responder cholesterol levels, and mine are like, I mean, I fall into that category because mine are sky high, but in the right places. So, you know, I'm not worried. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned eggs too, because so many people are I mean, if you don't like research this stuff and look at it like you're just talking, you have to, you know, learn for yourself. otherwise you're just going off of what other people have told you all your life. And the other night there was oh, it was at M3 actually. There was a bag of those hard-boiled eggs in the refrigerator, and I ate one of them, and then our sound man usually takes a bunch of the extra stuff home. So I said, "Hey Joe, there's a bag of eggs in there," or maybe he was saying he was hungry. I forget. But then he's going, "Oh yeah, I can only eat like one of those because that'll raise my cholesterol." And I go, "You know what? That does not raise your cholesterol." Like he had no clue. He's still. Most people think that it's like because they've been taught that, and it's completely wrong. Eating eggs has nothing to do with your blood cholesterol level. And I tried to tell him that. I said, the more cholesterol you eat, probably the less your liver has to make. And that's where they're measuring it from, is what your body's making. So maybe if your cholesterol is high, maybe it means you're not eating enough cholesterol. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I'm not a scientist, so I don't even know if that's right. I'm just saying.
Brian, one of the latest studies that's been really interesting is they followed a group of older people. I don't know. I think they started following them when they were in their 70s, and the group that made it to 90
had the highest cholesterol.
Had the highest LDL cholesterol.
Yeah.
Not just total cholesterol. But the group that lived over 90 all had high, to our, the standards, LDL cholesterol. So there's another study that just, as you're older, it's obvious that you need it for a lot of reasons.
For your brain.
Yeah. And then another study recently that I posted about on TikTok and Instagram is a study that proves without a doubt that eggs are the perfect source of protein. Egg whites are the highest bioavailable source of protein on planet Earth for the human organism. Egg yolks are the highest bioavailability of quality fats for the human organism. And the 13 vitamins and minerals that are available in eggs are the highest bioavailability of any whole food product for the human organism.
Yeah,
it's literally perfect food.
And you don't I've read that too, where it's so perfect that you don't even have to break it down when you eat it. It's already ready to be absorbed.
Correct. So if you add that conversation, because that's a chicken embryo that we're eating, to the fact that a human baby is born obese with a brain that's growing very rapidly, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that the process that was created for the human organism was for a baby to use fat to grow its brain.
Right.
And it's born in a state of ketosis. So I have all these conversations with because I don't care what people eat. I say it over and over and over again. But the vegan army is a cult, and they care and they want everybody to do what they're doing. And I don't care what you eat, but I'm just going to give you the facts about the human organism. You can eat whatever you want. You can keep jumping off the roof and claiming you're a bird. I don't care. But
not hurt me.
Just as long as you're not walking underneath when they do.
Right. But here's another unavoidable fact, that the human stomach pH level without food in is between 0.8 and 1.5.
Right.
The same as a vulture.
Mm-hmm.
An omnivore animal has an empty stomach pH of 3 to 4, and an herbivore animal has an empty stomach pH of 4 to 6. And they have multiple stomachs and all kinds of other stuff that we don't have. But the fact that we have the same basic stomach environment as an animal that lives solely off of meat dead meat, rancid meat.
Mm-hmm.
How could you possibly look me in the face and honestly say, you need to eat like a herbivore?
Right.
There's something wrong with this picture. So, Jim and I talk a lot and, talk about there's this weird dissonant relationship that people have with food where they believe certain things, the thought forms that we've been talking about, and they develop a dietary plan based upon all of this information they've received, yet they're fat, they're sick, they're in pain, and they have immune issues, pain and inflammation and immune issues because of their dietary plan. Yet, we'll tell you and I and Jim and all the other people that started eating animal-based diet, and all those problems disappeared, that we're doing something that's not sustainable, and they are.
Yeah.
You posted something the other day, Steve, on your Facebook page. I think it was you. I'm giving you credit for it if it wasn't, but
I'll take it. Good.
But if you got to have a whole food section or a natural food section in your grocery store, then what is that telling you about the rest of the food that you're buying? It's all processed, man-made crap. And that's the reality of what you're purchasing. The close, Brian, you said this, I think last week, anytime man inserts himself between nature and what was intended for us to have, it just screws it up. And the process, I mean, there's nothing simpler to me. Like, I've had a pretty busy schedule this week, but I've been coming home and I'll crack open a bunch of eggs. Takes me 5 minutes to whip them up and add some cheese and some meat, and I'm done. I don't think I've even posted pictures this week, but eggs are just so delicious and they're so good and they're so good for you. And then to think that, people like your sound crew guy, Joe, poor guy, thinks he only have one egg a week, when the reality of it is that's like, it's so sad that people have taken that thought form given to them from a white coat, and are living that out, when the reality of it is, in my opinion, and I'm not a doctor and I'm not giving Joe advice, but to me, it's just not sound advice. It's like doing the opposite of what you should do. It's just, Steve, you're talking about the pH factor and all that. And when you creates that hydrochloric acid to break down the proteins and stuff. And then we're taking chemicals that are created in processed foods and putting that into our stomach, or having a shake or a whatever they call those different drinks they have that they sell, they market. But that all screws up your
crap. They call it crap.
Well, yeah, that's what I call it. But I'm trying to be a little bit more politically correct, which
I don't do that.
Yeah. So anyway, so this crap that they sell you that you put into your system totally messes up your natural digestive tract and doesn't even allow you. So if are you eating meat as you eat all the other crap, your meat can't even get digested properly because you've screwed up the pH factor in your stomach, and you've taken away what your body naturally does because you have put crap in your system. And so now crap in, crap out.
So you just brought up something really big, and since you brought it up and opened the can, I'm going to empty it out. Okay. So there's this mythos about people dying with pounds of undigested meat in their digestive tract. Well, in the rare occasion where that happens, you just told everybody what the reason is, because your small intestine is not for that purpose. Your small intestine is not where red meat gets broken down. It gets broken down in your stomach and your large intestine, but those two processes are very dependent upon the production and the pH of your stomach acid. Number one is the very first step of that process. So even people that are in the keto carnivore community screw this up by eating high pH alkaline foodstuffs with meat. So all the people that think they're doing good by eating red meat on a salad are messing up their digestion, as well as, and this is a huge one, because culturally, when we go out to eat at a steakhouse, the waiter is constantly filling up our water glass, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Huge mistake. Because water, no matter whether it's on the acidic or on the alkaline, even acidic water's 4. And that's still going to raise, it's going to fill your stomach up with water that raises the alkalinity of your stomach, and then your gallbladder is going to go crap, and it's going to start cranking out some bile for you and stomach acid, and to try to correct that. And people wonder why, because they'll say, I've heard this. I tried to do keto and carnivore, but I just had bad heartburn. Well, that's why.
Well, that's the other thing too. It's the heartburn isn't high stomach acid; it's low stomach acid.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, it's you having a low stomach acid available, and your body's having to crank out a bunch to try to digest the food that you eat. So the other part about the water is, so, you know, science now will tell you you shouldn't drink anything an hour before, during, and an hour after you eat protein and fat. If you do, you're causing yourself problems.
Or I've heard if you drink warm bone broth with it, it actually helps.
Well, yeah, because it's got lots of cool stuff in it that actually it's actually mimicking part of the digestion process.
Yeah.
But so this is what I wanted to talk about today is the hydration myth, because people, it's another thought form that we've been told that you must drink 8 8-ounce glasses of water a day.
Yeah.
Every American will tell you that, pretty much. Guess, I think I told Jim this, but Brian, do you know who came up with that thought form and promoted it in the 70s?
Probably some water company.
It's a company. Well, close. It'd be better if it was a water company. Gatorade.
Oh, okay.
The sugar water company.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's where that myth started. And then we have all these other scientists who are funded by food and drug companies who are piling on that myth. Some of them saying you need to drink half of your body weight in ounces of water every day. And then we have all these other problems. We have this rampant headache problems, hormone problems, because people are literally drowning in empty water, because the hydration literally has nothing to do with the water. The purpose of hydration is to get electrolytes into your body, not fluid into your body. So a lot of people, when they start the keto carnivore journey, are coming from a state of high inflammation in their body, which means their body, at least 10% of their body weight is excess fluid, water, at least. And then they'll go 2 or 3 days on keto or carnivore and tell you they feel like absolute crap.
The keto flu.
Yeah, keto flu, all kinds of words for it, because their body is now, that diet has become a diuretic to the inflamed person. So your body is now flushing out the excess fluid because it's not needed anymore because of this dietary lifestyle. And along with that water goes all of your electrolytes.
Right.
Specifically sodium, potassium, magnesium are gone. On top of that, many people, including myself, drink coffee every morning, which is also a diuretic. So you got like a double whammy. So, you know, Dr. Berg and others, Ken Berry and many others will tell you that without the coffee aside, a keto or carnivore person needs to consume 2 grams of sodium a day, preferably sea salt. And then if you're drinking coffee, it's got to be elevated from there. And that is just to get back to baseline, where you're not dehydrated, where your body doesn't believe. And this gets back to the whole, you know, your body knows there's a system in your body designed. And one of the switches is dehydration, which again has nothing to do with water, it's electrolytes. And when that happens, your body switches into starvation dying mode and starts storing to fat. The same way as if you are eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, the vegan diet, which is mostly not bioavailable protein. The best vegan plant-based protein is only 20% bioavailable, where the protein in the egg is 90% bioavailable. But they're filling up their bodies with this empty calories for the human organism, and their body, even though they're full of food and feel satiated briefly, their body goes into starvation mode and starts storing whatever it can to fat. And that's why a lot of vegans are what you call skinny fat. Yes, they've lost mostly bone and muscle density, and their clothes fit better, but their body thinks they're dying.
Hey, I worked there during high school, Skinny Fats. It was right there at Woodbridge by Route 1 and 95.
It was a great place. But yeah, so it's again, you know, those are, it's stacked thought forms that all together, you add the low fat, don't eat a lot of red meat, drink too much water, a diet comprised of 70 to 8 to 100% carbohydrates in a lot of cases. If you stack those on top of each other, even though they're even whole foods, because a lot of times people will do better as far as some disease issues simply because if they've gone vegan and they're eating whole foods, that is better than eating processed foods. But if you add those 3 thought forms together, what you have is a person that is in fight or flight from a physical standpoint, 24/7, 365. They're never in a fasted state because of the level of glucose in their body, which means they're never in autophagy, which is the only kind of cleanse that's real. You can put anything down your mouth and up your rear end that you want. You're not cleansing anything except your pocketbook. But if you get into a fasted state for several hours every day, that's a cleanse. And your body has a system that will rid itself of everything. But if you're full of glucose, you'll never enter that state. Your body thinks you're starving to death, and you will get every single disease pattern that cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, type 3 diabetes with the neuro stuff, all the stuff that we're wrestling with that the pharmaceutical companies are oddly enough getting rich on. But yet, if somebody goes carnivore, in 90 days, it's all completely gone. Yet we're the crazy people.
Yeah.
All right, it's that time of the evening where we get a chance to check in with Mr. Brian Shanker of the Meat Tribe channel for those meat deals of the week. And so it's after Mother's Day. So what deals do we have there, Mr. Shanker?
All right, guys. So we've got a few good deals. Still not what I'm really looking for and what you guys typically look for too, which are the ribeyes. But I've got one place that's got maybe 2 places that have ribeyes. But starting off, Food Lion, their deals run through the 17th. They've got some choice grade T-bone steaks for $7.99 per pound. and they have 73% lean ground beef for $2.99 per pound. Aldi, they have a deal running through the 17th. It's a choice grade. They've got pre-seasoned. It's Morton's of Omaha, salt and pepper, or Texas barbecue brisket for $5.99 a pound. And then the store that doesn't seem to fail us most of the time, Harris Teeter, their deals run through the 17th. They have their New York strips on sale this week. So the Rancher grade, and they're boneless New York strips. The Rancher grade value pack is $7.99 per pound. The choice grade is $8.99 per pound. And the small pack is $8.49 per pound. And that's also Rancher grade. They do have 2 interesting cuts of meat on sale. If you're wanting to venture and try some bison, they've got some boneless High Plains bison New York strip steak. It's an 8-ounce package for $13.99 per pound, or excuse me, per package. And they also have a boneless High Plains bison ribeye steak, 9-ounce package for $13.99 as well per package. And rounding out, or finally with Harris Teeter, they have 73% ground beef. It's a 3-pound. I sent you and Brian a picture of it. It's a 3-pound package for $8.99. So comes out to $2.99 per pound, basically. And then Kroger, they got 2 deals running through the 17th. Choice grade boneless chuck roast for $4.99 per pound, and a ribeye, choice grade ribeye steak family pack boneless for $12.99 per pound. So I don't know if Brian's going to head on out there if you're stocked up already. And then Giant Eagle, the two last deals, Giant Eagle, their deal runs through the 18th, and they've got certified Angus beef boneless ribeye Delmonico steak value pack at $13.99, and they also have 73% lean ground beef for $2.99 per pound. So what is that? 3 places that have ribeyes, but one's a bison. So there are some ribeyes out there.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, we will have to head out there, and I was at Giant yesterday. I saw they had T-bones still on sale for $7.99, but that probably ended yesterday, probably.
I think their deal's going to run through Thursday, and the new one starts on Friday.
Okay. Well,
On
I gotta
Friday.
head back down and grab some T-bones down about. But thanks for those meat deals of the week. Appreciate it. How was your Mother's Day there, Mr. Shanker?
It was uneventful, quiet, which is good. Took the kids up to see my mom, and then spent the day with the wife and the kids. And the kids cooked the wife a big giant breakfast of all kinds of stuff that none of you guys are going to eat. Home fries with vegetable oil.
Ooh.
So, but
Hey,
it was good.
Live and learn. That's what I say.
Yeah.
So, well, we appreciate it. We'll have a great week, and we will see you next Friday night. And in the meantime, if someone wants to reach out to you for other deals that you may be posting, how do they reach you?
The YouTube channel is Meat Tribe, and then on Facebook it's also Meat Tribe. You can just search for it and it should pop up. If not, put a comment on the, well, if you can't find it, how are you going to get to me? I don't know. Just search it. You'll find it.
He's out there, everybody. You can find him.
Yeah, Jim tags me on the Keto Rocks stuff, so you'll be able to find it.
All right. Well, have a great week, brother. Appreciate the check-in.
Sounds good. Take care, guys.
All right, we'll see you. While we're on this topic, Brian, do you mind, like, when you get up in the morning, do you drink water? You drink coffee? You use your electrolytes? Like, what do you digest in the morning when you get up?
I usually I take electrolytes before my workout.
Okay.
And I have it's an electrolyte mix that has a little bit of caffeine in it as well. And that's
the Redmond's, right? You still use Redmond's electrolytes, or you use somebody else's?
Oh no, I use the Relight for just straight electrolytes. But for before my workout, I there's this other thing that the what's his name? The doctor that made the X3 bar.
Oh yeah, he's got a hard name to say.
Jack Quill or something, I think it is. Dr.
J.
Yeah, I I use his pre-workout thing, which is just it's electrolytes with a little bit of caffeine and a little bit of MCT.
Right.
So that's all I do that before my workout. And then later on, after I'm done, I'll have some coffee.
I've got to find a power.
But before I even do that, the first thing I do is I go straight out to my porch, my back porch, screened-in porch, and I sit in the sun and do my meditation first thing before I get.
Are you still doing it outside no matter what the temperature is?
Yeah. I've done it like 37 degrees out there.
Yeah.
Now I've been doing like I kind of slink out there naked. So I get
look at
like full body sun first thing.
Now you're gonna have the paparazzi out there looking for long range photographs of you now, Brian. I don't know if I would have shared that information. I may have to edit that out just to protect you.
Well, luckily my screens are real thick and dark, so people can't see in, but
well, that's good. Yeah, you don't want Dr. Steve O out there taking pictures. So you do that, then you do that in the morning. You go do your pre-workout drink, your electrolytes. You work out. You have your coffee afterwards, and then between the time after your time you've worked out or had your cup of coffee, when do you have your first or only meal of the day? Is that how many hours later?
Usually I start thinking about it around 1:30. So by the time I cook it and all that, it's usually around 3, 4 in the afternoon. Yesterday it was a little later. I had a what you call it? Geez, I can't think today. I went and had acupuncture for the first time yesterday.
Oh, I love acupuncture. How'd you like it?
Well, it was my first time, so it's not one of those things that like right away feel great. Not that, but I noticed though this morning I wasn't quite as stiff when I got up because I have this lower back stiffness that I deal with, and it felt better today. So today I'm going back for a follow up at 3. But anyway, yesterday I kind of ate late, and I didn't. Because it was right in the middle of the day. So I ended up going and buying some brisket from this place over here in Goodlettsville.
Oh, I saw that. They look moist though. It looked really, really good.
Well, because they smoke everything. They're closed on Mondays, and that's when they smoke all their meat. So when I went in there, they hadn't even like they didn't have any that was available. They had to get a new one out that they hadn't even cut up yet. So it was like fresh. It was
it looked really good and moist. I was like, wow. How far away is that, downtown or is that out by you?
No, that's over here by the mall. It's called Center Point Pit Barbecue.
Oh, that makes sense. It looked really good. So I'll have to check that place out next time I go to Nashville. It looked really, really like good brisket.
Yeah, that place I would recommend. And then there's that Jack's Barbecue place. They and Jack's has like 3 different locations, and there's one closer to here than downtown. That's another good one.
So how many of those little needles did they put in you? Did she tell you or he tell you the acupunctures?
No, I don't know, because I was laying on my stomach, so I couldn't even see. But they put them in my lower back, down like right above my glute muscles, and then they put some in my calves and my ankles as well. So
yeah, I used to be deathly afraid of needles, and so never could I understand why people did acupuncture. But of course, like a lot of things in my life, it's done a 180. So when I wanted to go do acupuncture, and I could believe I had, the first time I did it, 22 needles. And so, and I had them in my face. I had them in my, I had them down, I had them poking out of here. I had them in my ears. I look like a voodoo doll, but they didn't hurt. And afterwards I felt like it was almost like an aphrodisiac. I was just like,
right. It's relaxing, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, it's funny. I've always been fascinated by acupuncture, but I've never pursued it. But back like the last year that my dog was alive, I guess it was 2016, I was taking her in for acupuncture. And
so Sushi got acupuncture?
yeah, and they would stick the needles in like in her head in different spots. And she, as soon as they did that, you just see her just going, like just getting relaxed. And then she just sort of just lay down, and it was like, it just looked like it was soothing. So I was all that actually like even stimulated my fascination, just seeing the result that she got from it.
Yeah, there's definitely, that's a science I could get behind, because my experience was it works. I mean, the results are immediately, and you felt even better afterwards. As a matter of fact, it's what I used to heal my my torn rotator cuff. I didn't go get surgery. I went there for I don't know how many weeks. I think went twice a week, and I mean, they put it all in there, and after a while, all good again.
Brian, have you ever looked into grounding for your back pain?
No, not for that purpose.
Yeah, so all pain is inflammation of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had success with it, and lots of other people that I know that have had success with getting a set of grounding sheets, and you either put it into a ground plug in your electrical system because it's all grounded to the earth, or you run a wire out your window and into the ground with a grounding rod. But you'd probably be shocked at sleeping on some grounding sheets. And when you get up in the morning, anybody that tells me they have pain that gets worse after they sleep and stiffness, they've all been helped to some extent by doing that.
I have to look into that.
Yeah, they're not terribly expensive.
You can find them they're on Amazon.
I think I have a little bit of arthritis going on back there or something, but yeah, I actually, as far as grounding, I also go out in the morning. I always check my little deer bucket out there where I put the deer food. So I walk out there, I walk out through the grass in my bare feet, just try to get some connection to the earth in the morning.
Well, the human body seeks a ground to the earth every 90 minutes. It's a cycle, just like, the power in your house is 60 cycle.
Yeah.
The human body has a cycle to it that seeks a ground every 90 minutes. And the longer we're away from that ground, the worse inflammation can get in your body.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I just listened to another interesting podcast yesterday that this girl on Instagram, she goes by Carnivore Yogi. I don't know if anyone is familiar.
I follow her.
Yeah, she had a really good podcast yesterday, or maybe I don't know if it was from yesterday. I listened to it yesterday about that whole thing, and about I mean, she's all into the circadian rhythms and all that, and I mean, that's why I go out into the sun first thing. And she was talking about the grounding, and there's more to it. Like when you get out into nature, there's more to it than just the beauty of the nature and being peaceful and all that. There's a whole, like, the earth, everything's intertwined, and you're trading energy with the earth when you're out in nature and recharging yourself. And they were talking about water, getting into water, and like all kinds of stuff. It was a really cool podcast.
Yeah, the earth has its own internet. So the
mushrooms
and the mycelium, which is a layer of interconnected fungus in the soil. There's lots of studies on this, but the grass in your yard, Brian, when you step on one end of the yard, the grass on the other end knows.
Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on under there. Yeah.
Earth has its own internet. So you literally, with the right intention, and grounding is one of those intentions, but if you disconnect from this internet and these thought forms that you get on there and go connect to the Earth's internet, lots of stuff happens. That's positive for the human organ.
you just triggered something, Steve. I remember in the 60s and the 70s, people used to walk around barefooted. I mean, barefoot was something they did. And I was just thinking while you were saying that, and you think about, we got the peace, the hippie generation, whatever, but they had a connection with earth of having peace and love, and that synergy was communicated at a larger scale, but we didn't have anything on our feet to disconnect us from that internet of nature.
Yeah, we didn't have the rubber.
We didn't have the rubber.
Insulative rubber in between our bodies and the earth.
Right. So I was just putting that piece of the puzzle together. You think about, it's like going to the beach. When you go to the beach and put those your feet on the sand and into the ocean and have the water and just the air, the salt, it recharges people. And I think we get recharged because we are so disconnected with the source that wants to feed us. When I say feed us, I'm not talking about food at this point, but your body, your body is a part of this whole thing we call life, and to disconnect from it doesn't do us any good. When we start to try to protect ourselves and by wearing shoes and clothes and there's laws that you have to, but the reality of it is if you can get by yourself and do exactly what Brian does in the morning, that's what I listen. I know I plan on Sunday. I love days where I can just go lay out there and just lay on the ground bare and just take it all in. And there's just something very, I don't even know how to, tranquil, peaceful, recharging about living that way. When you're growing up and you hear about nudist colonies and camps and all that, you're thinking about, whoa, I got to go there for the wrong reason. But the reality of it is, I understand the draw of that now. Like, I understand why people would want a venue to be able to walk the beach and walk around totally nude, because there's a lot more going on than just seeing a bunch of nude people wanting to walk around.
Right. So let's go back to wanting Brian to do grounded sleeping. For millions of years, hominids slept on the ground, connected to the ground. And it's only in the last 1,000 years that we've been sleeping disconnected from the ground. So if we know scientifically our body seeks the ground on a regular basis, it would make sense that even if we just had a pillowcase, a grounded pillowcase, probably 20, 30 bucks, as long as part of your body is connected to ground, it's surprising at the difference in the morning, because everybody has told me at a minimum that they get up feeling much more rested after sleeping at a minimum. Yeah, and the only difference is being disconnected from the ground of the planet or being connected to the ground of the planet for a long period of time, when your body is supposed to be resting and restoring the human organism. That's the gift of sleep.
It's truly a gift. Talking about something else that, the cold water, the Wim Hof method. Brian, there was a show, Shark Tank, an inventor. These two guys invented a cold water tank for the Wim Hof method. And so you can buy, they're making these, they're $4,000. And so you keep them in your house. It's basically a tub that's always filtering the water, and it keeps it, the temperature goes down to between 39 and 59 degrees, I think is what the temperature range is for this. But you fill it up once, it's constantly filtering. And they were talking about the benefits of just going into that tank. And I forget which shark it was. It wasn't Mr. Wonderful. It was, I think, Kevin, the older gentleman. He stripped down and got into it. And he was like, oh my gosh. But they said, breathe through it. You can breathe through it. And then he breathed through it. He got out. He's like, oh my gosh, I feel wonderful. And I know when I've done that, like in the Potomac River, you come back and your blood flow and you feel so warm and you're so alive, even though it's cold outside and people think you're crazy, your body actually embraces. I mean, it's what we were naturally meant to do. It's that communion with nature that allows us to be able to truly recharge. And, so look, I don't understand a lot of it, but I know what I experience and I know what makes me whole. And so these subject matters we're talking about tonight are probably people are going, oh my gosh, you guys have lost it. But,
right.
but
yeah,
try it. What's that old saying? Try it. If you like it, keep doing it. And if you don't, just stop. But the reality is, don't knock it until you try it.
Yeah.
So anyway, with that being said, if you've made it this far along in the programming and you're still with us, Brian, what bit of advice would you give someone who's new to watching our program that they could go out and implement right away that would improve their overall health?
I would say eat your meat.
There you go. I would second it. And Captain Carnivore will probably third it.
I will definitely third it. And I will only add to that. If all you do is eliminate processed food from your diet, add meat protein, just some more meat protein. Whatever you remove in processed food, add in red meat and healthy fat, saturated fat. In a few short weeks, your body is going to tell you, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And drink that bone broth.
By all means.
Yeah. Can you see my crock pot back there?
Is that what you got going on? Are you making bone broth?
Yeah.
We're making it today too. We're doing a chuck roast right now, but afterwards the bag is full of the prime rib bones. It's today to make a bone broth. And if someone's never had bone broth, really made it organically, you're missing out. Your body's missing out, and your body will thank you if you take that cup of bone broth and just sip on it. Your body go, this is what I've been desiring.
Little
Redmonds
in there, and I actually put cordyceps and lion's mane powder, mushroom powder, into my bone broth and my salt. And you want to talk about good? I'm about to replace coffee with it. Those cordyceps will fire you up pretty good.
Yep, that sounds. I'm about ready to do the same, Steve. Hey, before we head off here, you guys playing anywhere this weekend, Brian?
No, I'm off this weekend.
Wow. Well, good for you. Yeah. Well, with that being said, we'll see everybody next Friday night. Thanks for tuning in. In the meantime, stay safe, stay well, and stay out of that hospital. We'll see you, everybody.
See ya.
It hasn't missed a day in 5 billion years. It shows up every morning, right on time. And in 1 hour, it creates enough energy to power the lives of every human on Earth for a year. That's what you get when you're the sun's favorite planet. Not just enough energy, but more than enough. Clean, renewable energy that never runs out. Solar power is no longer an experiment. It's reliable and ready and more practical than ever. It's a new day for solar power. A day Enphase has been working toward from the start. Pioneering solar and battery systems that let people make, use, save, and sell their power. Putting solar power within reach for more people than ever before. And there's plenty more where that came from. For example, in the last 60 seconds, the sun created enough energy to power the state of Texas for 10 years. We can work with that.